Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever Shorty. We're going to take a look at Mystique today, carrying on our From the Ashes, Let's Do Everything From the Ashes series that we're doing here. And it's another mini-series, which I think works in its favour, because as much as there's a lot I do like about this one, it is one of the ones I probably would struggle to recommend too much to pick up. I think because it falls very much into just one type of story. It does it pretty well, but it's not a type of story that really interests me that much, which is spy and espionage kind of stuff. I've said this before. I think even Ram V's The Vigil, and I love Ram V's writing, it's not my favourite thing he's ever done for the similar kind of reasons. There's stuff I like about it, though. First off, I really like we're going to have a noir-esque overarching narration where we don't find out who the voice actually is for a good long while. I like that. It's a kind of simple way of building suspense and laying this foundation for unreliable narrators and people not being honest with each other within the story. That's a good thing. I like it. And also, I think having Mystique as the choice this one is the right one as well. She is a character that most people, for most of her history, will know as a bad guy. But in the way that good writers can do this, we've, over the past few years, through the Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing, Simon Spurrier kind of run of the Krakoan Age of X-Men, we've seen an awful lot about who she actually was and why she went the way she did. Basically, she's part of an oppressed minority and did what an awful lot of people do in that situation, which is fight back. She did it in ways which an awful lot of people would then declare as terrorism or freedom fighting, depending on which country you're from. But she still ostensibly is not a hero. I like the fact that these writers did layer this quite effectively to a point where we're okay sympathising with her without necessarily agreeing with her. I like this. It's a fine line, but they did a pretty good job of it. And that is exactly where Declan Shalvey is taking the character. And I like it because she's drifting more towards those things where people in positions of power are going to try and stop her from doing it. Which would probably make you think, I'm going to see her as a hero, the anarchist that I am. But when you use the tools of the enemy, it does become a little bit more of a ropey grey area, even for me. But I like that. I don't want everything to be presented to me in a way that I find comfortable and easy to digest. I like the idea of being challenged on what a character is doing and their motivations for doing it. It also helps. It's really quite well written. The dialogue is pretty tight. Some of the layout and action sequences are pretty fun when you have a character who can change what they look like. So we have an awful lot of second guessing on exactly whose POV we get, even within quite a tight fight scene. This works really quite nicely. And the other thing that I really enjoy is the fact that, in a kind of tonking way, when they did the Batman One Bad Day series, where we get to realise that all these characters, which in a Batman universe kind of should be terrifying, but from an outside thing, they look silly. They're people in costumes with some mental health issues, to put it mildly. But these writers presented it in such a way that they were absolutely terrifying, because to be a threat to somebody like the Batman, you have to be pretty terrifying. The fact that he managed to keep so many of them just at low-level threats for the most part through most of his career shows how good he is when you realise how powerful these things are. And this is what we're getting with Mystique here. This idea that she is absolutely a terrifying mutant with hugely dangerous powers and can do an awful lot of damage with them. She isn't just somebody who can look like somebody else. She knows exactly how to do this to a staggering biological level, and has spent years working behind enemy lines doing the kind of espionage stuff that would make her exceptionally intelligent and quick-witted and very much able to think on her feet and work around stuff that gets in the way. These are things that are going to make her terrifying, and I like that. Declan Shalvey even says in the back, that is one of the things he was going to go for. And it's kind of nice, I was picking up on that as I was reading it and seeing it in there. But not only do I just find spy stuff not to be my cup of tea, I also am not really a big fan of the art for this one. And I'm not saying this to criticise Declan Shalvey as an artist. He's doing something which I would usually be 100% in favour of, which is moving away from the very clean-cut Marvel in-house style. He's a much more bold artist. He does deeper lines. He uses inks more effectively. And he's put characters in positions where they get to show off like a lot more of their physicality rather than just how pretty they are, which seems to be a big thing the X-Men comics do. But it's let down a little bit by the colouring, which is very Marvel. It is very shiny, gradiated, computer-generated colours, and with how heavy his inks are and how heavy his lines are, it feels like those two things didn't quite mesh as well for me as I think they could have done. I think, yeah, and I have a preference for more naturalistic-looking colouring, but I think in this particular case, I'm backed up by this. It doesn't work in a way that I think a different colorist could make it work. So in things I enjoy about it, but it didn't hit me in the way I wanted it to. So there we go. I might have one more thing to review, so do the social media thing. Until I see you again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.